Dawn Staley. Congratulations. She's a badass. She's an American badass coach, was a badass player, and is a badass coach. But she's also full of crap. And I hate to bring up the full of crap part, but this is starting to piss me off. Why do we continue this charade of coaches and women and everybody saying that it is okay for dudes to play and compete against women? Why do we continue this charade? Although I don't understand it. And let me tell you why it's a charade, in my opinion. Look, I get it. The inclusive police are all out. Oh, good for Dawn Staley, who said, well, let's hear what Dawn Staley had to say on a question asked by our own Danny Z, who's going to join us coming up here in about 20 minutes.
Dan Zakrzewski, OutKick coach. You just talked about, what a massive weekend this is, obviously, for women's basketball, women's sports in general. One of the major issues facing women's sports right now is the discussion topic about the inclusion of transgender athletes, biological males, in women's sports. I was wondering if you would tell me your position on that issue.
Damn, you got deep on me, didn't you? I'm under the opinion of if you're a woman, you should play. If you consider yourself a woman and you want to play sports or vice versa, you should be able to play. That's my opinion. You want me to go deeper?
Do you think transgender women should be able to participate
that's your question you want
basketball?
Me to ask. You want to ask, so I'll give you that. Yes. So now the barnstorm of people are going to flood my timeline and be a distraction to me on one of the biggest days of our game. And I'm okay with that. I really am.
Didn't answer the damn question. Coaches are so arrogant. Isn't it amazing that when you ask a coach a real question, how stupid they are? Like, she could barely speak. Like, she could barely put two sentences together. Like, seriously. Didn't know what to say. How do you think your team's going to do against the zone? How do you think your team's going to do against man-to-man? Then they're great, right? But sitting up there like, you know what? Like, I got all the answers. You got asked a real journalism question. That was a great question because it pertained to what she said. She was talking about what a great weekend it is for women. She was doing that. But isn't it amazing? No one in the media will call this out because we're all supposed to genuflect. Are you crazy? It's Dawn Staley. Oh, my God, she's a little point guard. She put a ball through a basket. And now she coaches women to put a ball through a basket, so she must not be questioned. That's a real question Danny Z asked. And the woman couldn't string two sentences together. She was either so shook up by the question, so careful of the question, or frankly, not very smart. This was not one of the great orations of all time. I don't understand why it is so hard for women to say, no, we fought too hard. Transgender men should play against men. Women transitioning to a man should play against men. Men transitioning to a woman should play against men. Why do they play against women? See, all the bleeding hearts out there that are saying, what a great answer. Oh, my God, it's so inclusive. Oh, it's so inclusive. I can't believe how inclusive she is. Isn't this wonderful? Sure, you're all frauds. Why don't they go play against men? They're still they're able to play. That's inclusive, but it's lost on these frauds. It's lost on the Sarah Spains of the world and other folks because what's the difference? What's the difference about being inclusive playing against men or being inclusive playing against women? Why do both play against freaking women? But Dawn Staley is too stupid. She's a great coach. She gets, big girls to play basketball. Good for her. But man, oh man, when Danny Z asked her a question, probably the first time because, it's Dawn Staley. Damn. You can't question some little basketball player and some little basketball coach. That would be blasphemy. They sit on the mount. They've got the power. because they teach young women to put a ball through a hoop, and that's all they do. Don't even try all the other stuff. Oh, stop it. I mean, there might be 5 in her entire career that she built into a young woman, but apparently not, because Dawn Staley could give a rat's ass about women. I don't understand why folks are so stupid. I mean, I guess I do with Dawn Staley listening to her. It's the first time she's been asked a decent question. I mean, if you really transcribe that answer, you'd be like, what is this person? How stupid are you? I mean, what are you doing? And I know this is, oh my God, blasphemy. Hey, I applaud the living hell out of her. She coached a bunch of women to an undefeated basketball season. Great. Yay, rah, go fight, win. The racists were out in full force yesterday against Caitlin Clark. Yay, rah, go fight, win, Dawn Staley. But damn, on the biggest weekend, a journalist, an actual journalist that didn't kiss your ass because you check all the DEI boxes and you've won some basketball games and you were a good player. Yay, rah, go fight, win. But the world is so much bigger than that. And young women got to see that even the strongest voice in the sport, although apparently the dumbest voice in the sport, but the strongest voice in the sport could not answer a simple question: should you keep men, biological men, out of playing basketball against women? If you feel like a woman, go play. Hey, LeBron, go put on a damn. You don't even have to put on a wig. Hell, I can go average 30 in college. Just give me about 2 months to get my fat ass in shape. I feel like a woman. So should I be allowed to play if I feel like I didn't use all my eligibility? Should I be allowed to play if I feel like, oh, I don't know, I'm 40 years old and in the best shape of my life and I didn't go to college and I feel like a woman, then I can go play as a woman? I mean, is that what we do? There are no rules. It's just how you feel. It's amazing to me how stupid that answer was. And it's even more amazing to me how stupid the frauds about inclusion are. Somebody, somewhere in the national mainstream media has got to be smart enough to pick up on this and say, wait a second. Why are men transitioning to women playing against women and women transitioning to men playing against women? Why isn't that addressed? Why isn't that discussed? I have no idea. No, I honestly don't. I know why dudes like Leah Thomas, who couldn't compete against dudes, want to go play against women because, well, they can compete. And anybody that says there isn't any physiological or physical differences between men and women is just an idiot. I mean, I'm sorry, you're just an idiot. I don't give a damn what transgender athletes do. I don't give a damn if you're transgender. This isn't hate at all. This is just simply saying we got a really stupid basketball coach that was asked a question and honest to God couldn't talk. I'm sure she got all good grades. I'm sure she was academic All-American, blah, 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 blah. But it's unbelievable to me. It's incredible to me how stupid that answer was. And not one media person other than Danny Z, who's going to join us here in about 10 minutes, would ever think to ask that question. On the day when this woman and other women are celebrating women in sports, women, not dudes, women, not people transitioning, women, no problem. Love the transgender community. Go play against the men. Period. Not one person. Not one person. I didn't even read. I read all this. Oh, isn't it great? All right, yeah, it's great. Go play against the men. You want equality, go play against the men. You make the team, God bless you, man. Imagine that. Imagine a woman transitioning to a man being a star shortstop at Yale instead of just some dude that's buried on the bench with the women. Imagine that. But it's even more than that. My God. I sat there and listened to her and went, you got to be kidding me. You've got to be. This is the answer? Oh, my God. It's unbelievable. It really is. The level of stupid out of that woman's mouth is stunning. I know we're not supposed to criticize Dawn Staley. She's African-American, and she could play basketball. Oh, my God. Oh, shut up. That's the dumbest answer I've seen. South Carolina, good for Dawn Staley. They completed an undefeated season. I mean, they lost the Rookie of the Year, Leah Boston, and a few others, and came back and beat Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark flipped the switch, right? She beat LSU and then lost to South Carolina. Last year, she beat South Carolina and lost to LSU. Isn't that interesting? Not really. But boy, oh boy, I tell you what, South Carolina had a nice basketball team. South Carolina's basketball team, very well coached, very tough. You could tell they like playing for each other, which is apparently what we're all supposed to be talking about here. Oh, my God, I love playing for each other. I just love my coach. I wouldn't play if I didn't like my coach. Oh, shut up and go play. And that's men's and women. I mean, if I got to hear again about, well, you got to play for each other. Geez, just go out to play to win a game. But anyway, congratulations to South Carolina. That's a hell of a win. Man, the racists were out in full force. Lynette Woodard might be the dumbest human being alive, not named Dawn Staley. No, seriously. Lynette Woodard said, well, I didn't have the three-point line. I didn't have this. I played with the girls' ball. This was at a dinner or at a luncheon celebrating and supporting women. She tore down Caitlin Clark. Lynette Woodard, if you don't know, played at Kansas. She's a little bit older than me and set the all-time women's scoring record. I don't know why it wasn't recognized. Something about NCAA, AIW, whatever. But she was very gracious. Iowa rolled out the red carpet for her. And then she just stabbed everybody in the back yesterday by saying, well, you know, I didn't have the three-point line. No one seemed to give a shit about that when they were talking about Caitlin Clark breaking Pistol Pete's record. Nobody seemed to care about the three-point line or whatever. 30-second clock. Then, all of a sudden, Lynette Woodard, who PR team said, man, you're an idiot. We got to straighten this out, came back. But, boy, the racists were out yesterday, and the lesbians were crazy yesterday. Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi were just insane yesterday. I mean, it just pisses all of those folks off. The angry lesbian was out, the angry African-American media guy, the angry African-American woman, the angry white woman. Everybody was out against Caitlin Clark yesterday, and all she does is handle herself with grace after her father told her to shut the living hell up, which is what fathers are supposed to do. But we don't have fathers in most of our society anymore. 72% African-American families, single-parent household. That's not great. But anyway, her father told her to shut the hell up. Long story short, congratulations, South Carolina. You guys, I mean, but god dang, your coach is a fool. Anyway, tonight, national championship game. You ready? National championship game, Purdue and UConn. I'm going to tell you something, and I say this in every way, he's got to do this. Braden Smith, the point guard for Purdue, didn't play great the other night. And I told you what was going to happen with Big Burns. Big Burns didn't do shit. Big Burns is who Big Burns is. He was great, and then he played against Edie. He talked a little bit. Next thing you know, he didn't do nothing, and Purdue rolled. Now, a couple of things with this game tonight. Braden Smith, the point guard, is going to have to play like an All-American point guard. He's going to have to play in every way. I saw this. I just happened to be looking through. I don't prop bet college athletes. I think it's wrong. But I did look at this. It was 10.5, and I thought to myself, he's going to have to get 17. I always do that. I don't look at the prop bets, but I think to myself, all right, in a big game, who's going to have to do what? Edie's going to have to be Edie, 25, 15, whatever, 25 and 15 against the big kid, Carabin. But anyway, here's the deal. The deal is this. Edie is going to be Edie, or he has to be Edie. But Braden Smith can't have a bad game. Braden Smith's going to have to get 17, but more importantly, Braden Smith's going to have to guard and guard hard and handle the ball and handle it well and calm things down when UConn does one of their UConn things, which is get on a run, start locking you up, and start moving like crazy on offense. If Braden Smith plays like he's capable of, which is among the 2 or 3 best point guards in the country, Purdue's going to be in this down the wire. If he doesn't, then they're going to have to hope that they hit a bunch of shots. Because, you know what? Well, either way, they're going to have to hit a bunch of shots. But I'm just telling you, from a defensive side, Braden Smith's going to be challenged. Because one thing Danny Hurley does, man, is he moves his players. They circle, they cut, they go underneath, they run off, they tight cut, they pop out, they pass, they throw back to the screener. They do all the stuff that you want a team to do. And Purdue does too, but Purdue's is set up differently. Purdue's is set up to throw the damn ball inside. I meant Klingon, not whatever the hell name I just gave you about playing against Edie. It's going to be a hell of a matchup. But the fact of the matter is, when you look at UConn, you look at a total team. Like, there isn't one guy that stands out. Yeah, Newton's terrific. We already talked about Clean. Yeah, I get it. They're great. But the fact of the matter is, for Purdue, Lawyer's going to have to hit 2 or more threes. Gillis is going to have to hit 2 threes. Edey's going to have to be Edey. Somebody's going to have to get on the backboard, Ren Kaufman, but you got to stay out of foul trouble to do it. Lance Jones, the moment can't be too big. You got to get in the stance. You got to lock up, and you're going to be on different people. You got to establish right away. But I'm telling you, and this is a bad thing to put on a sophomore from Westfield, Indiana, but he's capable of handling it. I'm telling you tonight, you watch Braden Smith, the point guard for Purdue. If he plays like an All-American, Purdue's going to be right in this, if not win the game, along with hitting shot. Look, Purdue can't go 3 of 18 from 3 and win this game. Can't do it. No. UConn can. That's just a difference in the teams. I'll tell you something else. If you want to see the greatest speech ever, Danny Hurley gave a great talk about NIL where he said, I coach my team hard. My players have to play hard because people give us a lot of money to play. Now, what he meant by that is donors are paying. Donors are saying, hey, we want to support the program. Well, that's millions of dollars. You got to play hard, and Danny's got to coach hard, and I thought it was a master class. Here's what I would do. You ready for this if I was Danny Hurley? If he wins tonight, that's a big if because I got Purdue. I'm not betting Purdue, but I took Purdue from the get-go, and I've seen nothing that's dissuading me from doing that. But here's what I would do if I were Danny Hurley. I wouldn't do this, but this would be awesome if he did. If they win, I'd pay my players like crazy. I mean, I'd make them all millionaires. I mean, that's 2 in a row. Even the guys that come over just now, I'd pay the out of them. And then I would go out because a bunch are going to leave, right? Some are going to go to the NBA, and I'd go out and find the next. But I'd tell the next, look, you're going to get paid like crazy here, but you got to pay us $10,000 to come. There's an entry fee. You know, you go to a bar and they want a $5 cover. There's your entry fee right there. Let's go. You got to pay us $10,000 if you want to be a part of this. This is special. That would be awesome. Never going to happen. But if anybody was going to do it, Danny Hurley was going to do it. And I think it's fantastic if he does. Seth Greenberg's going to join us. We're going to talk about that as well. Hey, I actually like Norby Williamson. I don't know if you remember who Norby Williamson is, but Norby Williamson is the guy that Pat McAfee called a rat. Pat McAfee called a rat because Norby Williamson was doing things that 40-year executives do at major corporations. He was covering his own ass with the bosses, and he doesn't have many bosses. He was like, man, Norby Williamson was a top executive. It had been bounced around what he was doing, but what his actual job was, vice president in charge of programming. That basically means you're in charge of all of ESPN's programming, which means you're basically in charge of ESPN. Now, I found Norby Williamson to be a really good guy. I like Norby Williamson. He got a little bit gutless with one situation but hell, again, he's saving his 401k. He's saving his stock options. But Norby Williamson, gone. He gone. Norby Williamson, after 40 years, is out at ESPN. Now, Burke Magnus is the HMFIC, head mother in charge. And he made the announcement, and by all accounts, it was not due to Pat McAfee, but I ain't buying it. I'm not buying it. Norby Williamson's name I knew before I ever went to ESPN. Now, how the hell do I know anybody's name before I even go to ESPN? I was locked in a film room most days. When the head of ESPN college basketball called me, a man named Dan Steer, I had no idea who the hell he was. I knew Norby Williamson's name, 40 years of being there. 40 years of being there, 40 years of making difficult decisions, but he got sideways with his bosses. But back to what he did with McAfee, he absolutely, I guarantee you, did what McAfee said. He ratted people out. He's planted stories. He wanted McAfee out, so he was planting stories, and McAfee said, screw you, this ain't what we're doing. Well, guess what? If you look at it from the outside, McAfee won. For a couple years now, I've told you, and I've told you, and I've told you that Kentucky men's basketball is slipping into irrelevance under John Calipari. Now, it came to a head this year with another early exit, this time Oakland, and our friend Greg Campy did the dirty deed to Cal and the fellas of Wildcat Lodge, the most overhyped, pampered bunch of little frickin' babies in college basketball. Well, guess what? Here's how irrelevant Kentucky basketball has become. John Calipari, the highest paid coach in the history of college basketball, said, to Mitch Barnhart, his AD, to Big Blue Nation. He said, to all the history and tradition, Adolph Rupp, Eddie Sutton, Joe B. Hall. Yeah, he said, to all of you. He got the hell out while the getting was good. See, you got to remember something about John Calipari on his move to Arkansas. Arkansas. Now think about this. The Kentucky coach went to Arkansas as the basketball coach, a job that a guy named Eric Musselman had, didn't want, and left for the USC job, among the most irrelevant big-time jobs in college basketball. That's the guy, that's the place that John Calipari left. Remember when Pitino left Kentucky? Pitino went to go be the general manager, head coach, vice president of the Boston Celtics. The Boston Celtics from Kentucky. This guy, our friend John Calipari, left Kentucky to go play the banjo in some deep woods river in Arkansas. I've been to Arkansas. I've been to Fayetteville. It's all right. It ain't near Lexington. Great crowd in Arkansas. It's all right. It's fine. But the must buzz took off. And now Calipari says, yo, Kentucky, I got to get out ahead of the posse. See, Calipari's smart. He signed a 5-year deal. Here's what Calipari did. Calipari said, you know what? I'm not coaching this way at Kentucky. When the athletic director comes out, as Mitch Barnhart did after a sit-down, that they actually got televised for all the idiots in Kentucky that actually want to watch such a thing, guess what? So Calipari said, I ain't doing this. I'm taking a hike. I'm saving my career. I'm not ending up as a lame duck in Kentucky with a bunch of freshmen that are overhyped. I ain't doing that action. I'm getting the hell Larry Brown style out of Dodge. I'm doing what Bill Belichick did to players. Bill Belichick, other than Tom Brady, was pretty good at getting rid of players a year too early. So he would get something out of them, meaning a draft choice, something, anything. But not Cal. Cal did the same thing. Cal said, hey, here's the deal. No lame duck for me. I'm going. And he had to tell everybody, including Mitch Barnhart, mostly Mitch Barnhart, the athletic director, it was in his contract that he had to say, hey, I am talking to somebody else about a job. Now, a lot of times you don't have to do that, but it was in his contract. Now, there are reports that $5 million is being anteed up for NIL money. So that's what's going to happen. I mean, there's all kind of reasons. But when Kentucky gets outbid, I mean, I told my son last night, who's coaching, I go, you got to understand something. Kentucky was buying folks in the 80s. Legendary story, at least from one of my friends that played at Kentucky on his recruiting trip. They took him to Keeneland. Keeneland's a very famous racetrack. Guy walks up, handed him $100 to win on every horse in a race, which meant no matter which horse won, he was winning. He had a $100 win ticket on the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 if there's 8 horses. Horse comes in at 2-1, he wins 200. Horse comes in at 8-1, he wins 800. Now, that's Kentucky. Going back 40 years, you're telling me that Kentucky got outbid? That Kentucky got smacked by who? Arkansas? Yeah, I know Walmart's there. Yeah, I know the Walton family's there, but I've been to Fayetteville. It's all right. Roads are nice. You could tell I came in 2 different ways into the University of Arkansas when my stepdaughter Tegan last May was playing in the NCAA women's softball tournament. And as you came in, like the roads were crappy, then all of a sudden you got in the Fayetteville area and they were great because, well, the Waltons made the roads great. That reason to go? I don't know. Bud Walton Arena going to get $18,000. And they won a national championship there 100 years ago under Nolan Richardson. But damn, Kentucky, Big Blue Nation, the craziest people on earth, you finally did it. You finally ran a coach out of there not named Joe B. Hall, or you racist clowns when you ran Tubby Smith out. You finally just ran your savior out. I remember when Calipari was introduced, it was exactly like when LeBron James, Chris Bosh, and Dwayne Wade went to the Heat. A stage, a light show, band, the cheerleaders. It was something out of Blue Chips. And Cal, they all said, we're lucky to have him. And he got off to a banging start. But like every other coach, man, I'm just telling you, you got to keep your feet dancing. You got to keep moving. Calipari knew that. Calipari did that. We'll talk to Seth Greenberg, who's a good friend of Calipari's, coming up here at what time? About 10:15. Yeah, that's right. That's unbelievable. All you arrogant-ass Kentucky fan, I don't think an Indiana coach has ever left to go like where? Oh, Wisconsin? Oh, Rutgers? Made a lot of money at Wisconsin, a lot of money at Rutgers. Indiana coaches just get fired. But anyway, good for Calipari, bad for Kentucky. Now go get Danny Hurley. Do yourself, you got to save face. Kentucky, you're embarrassed right now. It's unbelievable. You got to save face. You better go get Danny Hurley. Hey, Charles Barkley and Stephen A. Smith are pissed. What? African Americans pissed off about the border, illegal immigration, and crime? No, say it ain't so. But Barkley, who I love, has always thought with his own head, and right now, Stephen A. Smith is trying to be something bigger than a TV guy. See, I'm a trailblazer. I left ESPN because I wanted to be something bigger than a guy that says, well, you know, that guy really shoots it. He came off the screen low. Let's hear from these two guys talking about actual important issues. Good for them.
And you see the streets. You see the streets in New York.
3 weeks ago on TV, they had these migrants. First of all, the border is a joke. The border is a joke.
Yeah.
But they had these migrants, they call them, had just bust up in New York. They got them on camera kicking and beating like cops. They beat up these
two cops, beating up two cops, beating up two police officers
but they were,
in the subway station.
They were out of jail in 24 hours, and the next day.
Actually, it was the same day, Charles.
But 2 days later, they call them robbing Macy's. I'm like,
wow.
First of all, they beat up cops. How are you out of jail in 24 hours? And then clearly, 2 days later, they're robbing Macy's. Anybody, whether you're a Democrat, Republican, a dog, a cat, or a puppy, you know that's wrong, period.
But it's woke culture. But with woke culture and everything else that's been going on, you've got folks on the left that have endorsed a more lenient legal system, and obviously folks on the right going crazy about it and calling for law and order. Who do you side with, considering our iniquitous history, what's going on today, and who the candidates are in terms of Biden and Trump, in all likelihood, running for office? What do you do, Charles? Who do you vote for?
First of all, we need law and order, Stephen A. If we're gonna,
I agree.
If we're gonna,
I'm with you,
dude. We need law and order.
Yeah, we do. I mean, look, they're right. Isn't it amazing? I mean, all you got to do is actually pay attention. If you just pay attention, you come to the same conclusions that Charles and Stephen A. Smith came to, but nobody pays attention. Everybody gets blinded by their political party. That's why we're so good here at OutKick. I think Clay was a Democrat. Now he's paid attention. I don't know what I was, to tell you the truth. I grew up in a very democratic world, Gary, Indiana. My dad was a lobbyist for the teachers union, so I assume that made me a Democrat, but I've started paying attention. And I don't really care anymore. Maybe I did at one point. I don't remember ever, but I don't care anymore about the personal lives of our presidents. Are you out of your mind? All you got to do is go back to JFK and stupid Marilyn Monroe and all the different stupid stuff that those folks were doing. Of course, Reagan married Nancy for one very specific reason, and Bill Clinton, don't even get me started. I don't get my politics. I don't get my morality. What I get is, how's our borders doing? How's my 401k doing? How's gas prices doing? Do I have to have do I have to hear the word inflation? I don't want to hear the word inflation. Why do I got to hear the word inflation? Nobody wants to hear the word inflation. We didn't hear it basically since 1970-something when Jimmy Carter was having gas lines. So now Charles is paying attention. But Charles Barkley also famously said, and he's so right, you know, African-American people keep voting for Democrats and African-American people keep being poor. Because about every 4 years, some Democrat, this time it's Biden, and it used to be Clinton, whips out the old, we are the people, we're going to do this, and everybody knows it's crap. So I love that Barkley, and I absolutely love that Barkley, and I love that Stephen A. Smith are getting involved in this. Who do you vote for? Well, you don't vote for Biden. I don't give a damn. You vote for Biden, you're getting more of this. You vote for Biden, you got you've got the most famous right now women's basketball coach that can't even say boys should not play with girls just because you feel like a girl. Nah, it's unbelievable. Good for Barkley. Good for Stephen A. for standing up. I hope they continue. I hope they don't stop because their voices resonate. People might say, they're just idiots. No, they're not. They're very powerful, very smart, very influential people. And in Barkley's case, he resonates with everybody. Stephen A. Smith, a lot of people look at him and go, yeah, that's just a fraud. That's just fake. Not Barkley. And you combine the two, it's pretty powerful. So good for them. All right, Hall of Famer Lynette Woodard once again proving that these women are stupid. I mean, I'm sorry, but damn. Like, when you got to talk about something actual, how dumb was Dawn Staley's answer to Danny Z? And, well, here's Lynette Woodard at a luncheon where you are supposed to support, uplift women. Here's Lynette Woodard talking about Caitlin Clark breaking her record.
I am the hidden figure, but no longer now. My record was hidden from everyone for 43 years. 43 years. I don't think, I'll just go ahead and get the elephant out of the room. I don't think my record has been broken because you can't duplicate what you're not duplicating. And so unless you come with a men's basketball and a 2-point shot, hey, you know. But just for you, so you can understand, so you can help me spread that word.
What an idiot. I mean, nobody got mad when they were comparing Caitlin Clark to Pete Maravich. You didn't have men whining. Honest to God, and her PR team put out a statement basically apologizing. But how ridiculous. Stupid. I mean, the level of stupid is stunning to me. You know, and people, you know, and the women in there who were at a luncheon to support and uplift women we're too stupid to not clap. We're too stupid to say, hey, wait a second, that's not great. No, wait a second, Caitlin Clark's pretty good. Why are we dismissing Caitlin Clark? And this is after Iowa had gone in and absolutely gave her a red carpet treatment. She came for this record. They made a big deal about it. Oh, my God. It is unbelievable. And I am using the word stupid. Now, I'm sorry if that offends you, but it's just stupid. Now, I get it. You know, you get old men, you get old women. They think that, well, I'm doing this, I whatever. Okay. But the truth of the matter is, you played 44 years ago. 44 years ago. Of course you're a hidden figure. Who gives a rat's? Who gives a rat's ass? You know what I'm saying? 44 years ago. You're lucky to even talk about you. I'm telling you, men and women that played sports, when you actually have to do some thinking, man, oh man, it's incredible. So Lynette Woodard does her thing, and another idiot, and then she comes out and she's got an apology and all that kind of stuff, and you're like, oh, okay. You know, I mean, and Caitlin Clark got to be sitting there going, I got to be smarter than these women. Here's what Lynette Woodard had to say to clarify my remarks made at an awards ceremony. No one respects Caitlin Clark more than I do. Really? But she's an African-American woman, so she can say whatever she wants. I accepted the invitation. The message was a lot has changed on and off the court, which makes it difficult to compare statistics. Oh, shut up. Caitlin holds the scoring. Well, you don't have to tell us that. You're an idiot. Why do we listen to fools? Really? Okay. No. Of course, the African-Americans say, apology not necessary. All right. I didn't hear anybody talking about that when everybody was celebrating beating Pistol Pete's record. He didn't have a three-point line. He didn't have a 30-second shot. Everybody's like, hey, broke a record. Man, I'm telling you, I'm just saying, we've seen, I guess, you guys tell me that Woodard's smart. You guys tell me that Staley's smart, but all evidence to the contrary, this is unbelievable. And I'm not surprised even a little bit because that's the way the world works. Here's Brian Kelley. Speaking of women's basketball, LSU and Kim Mulkey caught hell for not being there at the anthem, which was the dumbest controversy ever. Brian Kelley was brought into it because the idiotic governor of Louisiana said that players should lose their scholarships if they're not out there for the anthem. Well, why don't coaches lose their jobs? Brian Kelley had this to say.
Yeah, I saw it, and look, clearly I think everybody is had their comments about it, and I know we've made a statement. Scott Woodard has made a statement about it as well, and look, I think that our football players would echo this, is that if at any time we're required to be out there, we're going to be wherever we're told to be. And that's the bottom line. If our administration wants us out there for the national anthem, we're going to stand proud for the national anthem. It's just the way that it has been scripted, and I've been doing it for 33 years. I can on my hand, I can tell you how many times I've been out for the national anthem in 33 years. That's not to say that we're against what the governor is saying. We understand where the governor's coming from. We'll relook at the policies, and I think I stand by what Scott has said. We'll look at everything, but our kids are, I look back at the Army game and how proud we were of that moment to have Army in our stadium, and what we did to that stadium to really show our patriotic backing. And so hopefully we'll be able to get past this pretty soon.
Yeah, it's much ado about nothing, and Brian Kelley protests too much. I mean, just shut up. I mean, hey, we're going to be out there. We'll be where we need to be. You don't like it, you don't like it. I mean, what do you want me to tell you? I mean, look, the Anthem police are never going to be satisfied, never apologize to any of these idiots. And if you're supposed to be out there during a certain time, be out there. If you're not, do your thing. Because quite frankly, you're there to win a football game. You're there to win a basketball game. You're there to win a baseball game. You're there to win a softball. It's very simple. Just do what softball does. I mean, just line up 3 minutes before the game and give the anthem, because every team is out there 3 minutes before the game. It ain't that hard. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. This is such stupidity that I should be the commissioner of all things. It's just ridiculous. It really is. Hey, my friend Jim Banks is a congressman from Indiana. He suggests LeBron James and Bronny should team up and play basketball in communist China. Clay Travis tweeted in, too, our fearless leader. So here's Clay. So, LeBron's son, who in no way is one of the top 60 basketball players, is entering the NBA draft to see whether LeBron can get a team to draft his son so they can play together, right? Have we seen basketball player nepotism before? Seems like a big story. Jim Banks, our friend, said unless they move to LeBron's beloved China, they aren't playing together in the NBA. Well, I don't know if they are and they aren't. LeBron's got a lot of power. And I don't begrudge the kid. I mean, what the hell? But this is another example, or we'll see if it's another example. We'll see if it's another example of Adam Silver being the worst commissioner in the world. Like, when you give power to players, kindness is weakness, and they take advantage. They do. I'm sorry. They just do. And LeBron thinks he's bigger than the league. I do think he and his son should go play in China for a year. I do. I think they should actually experience, not have a book that's open one page and try to act like a damn philosopher. I mean, if you're going to support and make all kind of money off it, what the hell's wrong with going to play there a year? Your son could get better. You could become an even bigger star. And you could actually, if you took the time and didn't live in the penthouse of a gold star, 5-star, whatever the hell it is, resort, you might actually hear and see what's going on there. That'd be an interesting move. That'd be a move that Muhammad Ali would have made. No, it is. That's a move that Muhammad Ali would have said, all right, I'm going to do this. Today's phony-ass little social activists or whatever you want to call LeBron James, they don't have the balls to do that. There's too much money involved. Muhammad Ali said, screw it, I'm going to throw my gold medal in the river. I'm not going to the draft. You want to arrest me? Arrest me. Muhammad Ali would take his fights to places where there had never been fights. I know there's financial reasons, but he went places. He did things. He built things up. LeBron James sits there and cries racism every time someone looks at him wrong. Totally different this day and age. But anyway, I'm with Jim Banks. You know what? Jim Banks is right. Let's go. Go play. I don't know whether LeBron James' kid's going to get drafted. I don't know whether LeBron James is going to get the next team in Las Vegas? I have no idea. But I do know this. I don't blame the kid. What the kid's supposed to think? Kid's never been a great player, and he's got $5 million coming in every year in NIL money. What the hell? Why not?